Yes, hello and welcome you all for today's class. In day-to-day life, we rarely find pure substances and we find the world is consisting of many homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. These homogeneous mixtures are consisting of two or more components so uniformly that we cannot able to distinguish that whether they are two components present or whether it is one complete whole thing. So homogeneous mixture is called as solution. This part is being studied in the earlier classes also. But what is the speciality or what are the special things that we are going to study in the class 12th? Let us try to see about that. Some questions may arise in your mind. Why salt, that is common salt, dissolves in water but not the petrol? Petrol and water forms immiscible liquids. They are the two immiscible liquids. But alcohol dissolves in water. Why the two substances go into uniformly into one another? What are the thermodynamics factors about the heat change in the process? When you dilute an acid, there is exothermic, lot of heat energy is being released. You cannot touch literally the container containing an acid which is diluted because lot of heat is being evolved. When potassium nitrate is dissolved in water, it becomes so cool that as if you are touching an ice. Why there is a change in heat energy when there is a process of dissolution? Again, what is the concentration of the solution of intravenous injections? And there are many questions like this will arise, and you are going to know about the answers in this chapter. So let us take the next chapter, solution. And in this chapter we are going to focus upon classification of solution. What are the different types of solutions? If the solution is present, what are the different types of solution? Then very importantly, concentration of solution. How concentration is being expressed and what are the different ways of expressing the concentration, and formation of solution. How exactly a solution is being formed? Let us try to explore about this. Vapor pressure of a solution, Raoult's law, is there any ideal solution and non-ideal solution? Let us try to know about that, and azeotrophs. Now, solution as far definition is concerned, it is a homogeneous mixture of two or more substances. Now, question arises, what is meant by homogeneity? Milk is also looking like a uniform one, but milk is not considered as a homogeneous substance. But whereas sugar solution is a true solution. Now, how do you distinguish these two? A milk and a sugar solution. So, from the point of view of molecular level, so if the molecular diameter is less than 1 nanometer, that is 10 to the power minus 9 meter, then we define it as a homogeneous. And sugar solution, all the particles will attain the size less than 1 nanometer, therefore it is a true solution. So, a homogeneity refers to a very extent of molecular size. If it is more than that, then it can be a colloidal solution, and the milk is a colloidal solution, right? And the brass, which is consisting of two metals and two or more metals, and it is also a solution. There is solid solution. But whenever you are preparing a solid solution, they should be mixed when they are in the molten state, so that this homogeneity is being formed. If you are mixing in the solid form, it cannot be forming a solution. So, a German silver which consisting of copper, zinc and nickel, more than two components, it is also a solution. Now, how many components must be there in a solution? Is there any rule that only two components must be there? It is not so. That can be 3 or 4 components, 5 components also. So accordingly, they are called binary, ternary, quaternary solutions. So the binary solution is one which consisting of 2 components, and ternary is having 3 components, and multinary is having more than 3 components, and so on. And those solutions which are formed by using water as solvent are called aqueous solutions, and those which are not having water are non-aqueous solutions, right? So binary solutions are important because we are going to find out more of the properties of binary solutions that we are going to discuss in the further sessions. Okay, so there will be 2 components, one is called solute and another is called solvent. In a binary solution, one is solute and another is solvent. And solute is in the low concentration, in lesser quantity, and solvent will be in the larger quantity. In salt water, water is the solvent and salt is the solute. Now, how does the solution form? This is a very important question, because as I asked a question in the earlier, why that water dissolves sodium chloride but not the benzene? Point lies in interaction. Point lies in the quantity of heat that generated or required for the process. Let us throw light upon the thermodynamic aspects in the formation of solution. So when a solution is being formed, there must be attraction, or there must be interaction between the particles of solute and particles of solvent. And let us try to know about these things correctly. Now, there is sodium chloride. You are talking about sodium chloride. How sodium chloride get dissolved in water? If this is the point, then you know that sodium chloride consisting of ions, sodium ion and chloride ions. When sodium chloride is dropped in water, each sodium ion is surrounded by water molecule. So water is H2O, and this is oxygen which is more electronegative. Therefore, it is having negative charge, partial negative charge. This is a polar molecule. Therefore, it is called as polar molecule. Each sodium ion is surrounded by some number of water molecules like this. So negative end of the oxygen, negative end of the water molecule, that is oxygen, will be surrounding the sodium ion. Similarly, the chloride ion is surrounded by the positively charged, that is hydrogen end of the water molecule. So this is called solvation, and solvation occurs in case of an ionic solid dissolves in water. Now, sodium ion is surrounded by the negative end of the water, because water is a polar molecule. Now see the kind of interaction between water molecules, between two water molecules, say there is kind of interaction plus delta minus delta. So we write minus 2 delta because two charges which are being arising due to hydrogen. So there is an attraction between oxygen and hydrogen of another water molecules. This is a special kind of dipole moment, dipole attraction, and this is called hydrogen bonding. So here there is attraction between the charged particles, charged end, and the sodium and chloride ion. Sodium ion and chloride ion are also held by the charge electrostatic force of attraction. Therefore, there is similar kind of attraction. So here also there is attraction between charges, and here also there is attraction between charges. So these interactions are making possible to have a solution. So there is interaction. We call, if it is a solute and we call it as A, then between AA, that is molecules of A, the interaction between AA and interaction between BB, that is solvent, particles of solvent. If these two are same, almost same, there will be AB interaction. There will be interaction between A and B, therefore solution is possible. So this is the answer to most of the question that is arising due to why the solution is being formed. Now, this is the answer why benzene doesn't dissolve in water. Between benzene molecules there is van der Waals force of attraction, and in water or between water molecules there is hydrogen bonding, there is polar attraction. A polar molecule and a non-polar molecules are there. So between that there will be no proper interaction. So AA interaction is different than the BB interaction, therefore AB interaction is not possible, solution is not possible. Now, so there will be enthalpy change in the interaction, that means there is an amount of energy depends upon the amount of interaction. Therefore, there will be change in the energy. Now, if the solvent is water, the ions are hydrated and the intermolecular force here are ion dipole and therefore they are solvated. This is what I have explained you. Now, if it is a sodium chloride, this is water molecules and one by one the sodium ion in the surface is being taken out, and at the end you see that sodium chloride, sodium ion and chloride ion from sodium chloride is dissociated, and you cannot literally find that because they are in the ionic form, therefore you cannot able to find that. Now, coming to the thermodynamic concept that I was telling. Now, why there will be dissolution process is exothermic or endothermic? Here is the answer. Solvent, between the solvent molecules there is an attraction, and for the formation of a solution you need to break these interaction. So these particles are to be separated. Again there is solute. Between the solute particles there is attraction, and you need to separate them like this. Now there must be attraction between these two, and new attraction should set in. So this is delta H3. So delta H1, delta H2, delta H3. There are three kinds of changes are possible. Now if these two changes energy is needed, and for this change, since the attraction sets in, the energy is released. If this is same, H1 plus H2, delta H1 plus delta H2 is equal to delta H3, then there will be no heat change at all. Heat change at all. But the process of dissolution may be exothermic or endothermic. If H1 plus H2, delta H1 plus delta H2 plus delta H3 is either positive or negative, there is total change, maybe either positive or negative, then there will be heat energy released or heat is absorbed from the surroundings. So this is what thermodynamics says, right? So heat of a solution, there is the heat of a solution, heat change of a solution is given by delta H1, delta H2 and delta H3. Now, coming to the energy changes in another perspective. So there are three: separation of solute particle, separation of solvent particles, and formation of a new interaction. Okay, so this is what I was telling about. Now, coming to the types of solution. Coming to the types of solution, based on phases of solute and solvent, we can classify them into 9 types. What is that? Phases of solute and solvent. The solute may be solid, solvent may be solid. Then, if both are solid, a solution is being formed is called solid in solid solution. In this way, solid, liquid, gas are the different phases. There are therefore 9 different kinds of solutions are possible. Now, gas in gas is air. Air is a mixture of many gases. Atmospheric air is a mixture of many gases, and they are in true solution form. And gas in liquid, aerated drinks. Okay, when you open a soda bottle, the bubbles of water, the bubbles of gases that you can find, that is nothing but excess of carbon dioxide dissolved under pressure, you are coming to the atmosphere that shows that gas is present in liquid. Now gas can be present in solid. Hydrogen hydrogen can form a solution with palladium. There can be liquid in liquid solution. There are many. Alcohol in water and benzene and toluene, both are liquids and form a solution. And liquid in solid, mercury. Mercury is a liquid metal and it forms an alloy with other metals, and that is called amalgam. Amalgam, mercury in zinc is an amalgam. Okay. Then liquid gas, liquid can be present in gas. Liquid is present in gas as moisture in atmosphere is an example. Solid in liquid, sugar in water, solid in gas, smoke particles in air is an example. Solid in solid, various alloys are the examples of solution. Now, there are methods of expressing the concentration. Why this is essential? Why this is essential? Let us try to see from the point of view of different expressions. If you dissolve certain amount of solute in specific amount of solvent, it dissolves at that particular temperature. Suppose if you go on adding the solute, there will be a stage wherein you cannot further add. That solid added will remain as it is. Such solutions are called saturated solutions. Saturated solutions are those in which solute cannot be further dissolved at that temperature. Now there are solutions other than the saturated solutions which are unsaturated solutions. Other than the saturated solutions are unsaturated solutions. All unsaturated solutions, they have to be mathematically categorized by giving an expression. What I mean is, there may be a 10% solution or 20% solution. Now, 20% solution is more concentrated than 10% solution. So, mathematically we can categorize like this. All unsaturated solution, therefore, can be expressed in different way of concentration. Now, what is meant by 10% solution? 10% solution we mean 10 grams of solute present in 100 grams of solution. That means 10 grams of solute you take and dissolve in 90 gram of water, so that total mass is 100 gram of solution, then your 10% solution is ready. Now, how to express? That is mass percentage. This is called mass percentage. So, here we express the mass of solute with mass of a solution. There is another way, volume percentage. Suppose solute is a liquid and solvent is a liquid, then measuring mass may not be of a may not be a convenience. Therefore, we measure volume. So, volume of a solute by volume of solution into 100, if you percentage wise if you express, then that is a percentage volume percentage, volume by volume percentage. Now, there is mass by volume percentage. This is also called as strength of a solution. The grams per liter. If you have dissolved 2 grams in 1 liter, then it is a 2 mass by volume percentage. Parts per million, parts per billion are the methods of expression. Mole fraction, molality are the different ways of expressing the concentration. Let us try to see one by one what are the percentage concentration or what is the expression. So percentage, W by W percentage, mass by mass percentage is given by this formula. Mass of the solute by mass of the solution into 100. So I told you about it. 20% of the solution means 20 grams in 80 grams of water. So 80 plus 20 is total mass into 100. So this is 100 and 100 get cancelled, therefore 20%. So 20% solution is done by this way, and the expression is mass of solute by mass of solution into 100 in the numerator. Now you can say, or you can find out what is the way to express volume by volume percentage. Volume by volume percentage is volume of solution, volume of solute. This is volume of solute, not solution, volume of solute by volume of solution into 100. Now percentage weight by volume. So this is mass of solute by volume of solution into 100. Per 100 ml of solution, what is the mass? That's how it expresses, right? Percentage weight by volume. Then parts per million, parts per million. So it is important. As it is a very small quantity of measuring the concentration. Some cases, very small quantity also to be accurately measured. Fluoride content in water. If smallest quantity is present in water, it is good for the teeth. But if it is more than 1 parts per million, then it affects the bone. Therefore, parts per million is an important quantity to express the contamination in water or concentration of a chemical in a particular composition. Now, let us try to see though parts per million is mass of solute by mass of solution into 10 to the power 6. 10 to the power 6 is million. If it is parts per billion, then mass of solute by mass of solution into 10 to the power 9. So these are expressing the smallest quantity present in a solution. Now coming to the next, mole fraction. What is mole fraction? It is always a fraction less than 1. That means if there are two components, number of moles of first component divided by total number of moles of all the components in the solution will give the mole fraction. So mole fraction is number of moles of that component divided by total number of moles of the other components, right? So it is also expressed as xi. If it is for one component A, then we express like this: XA is equal to NA divided by NA plus NB. If there are two components A and B, then mole fraction of one component is number of moles of that component, therefore Na divided by Na plus Nb. Now similarly, you can see what is XB. XB is Nb divided by Na plus Nb. Now from these two, if it is a binary solution, you can able to say what is XA and XB. So this is equal to 1. XA plus XB is equal to 1. Okay. So if 1 is known, other mole fraction of the other component can be found out by subtracting it from 1. Now there is another 2. Okay, this is what I have told you. Now, okay, XA plus XB is equal to 1. Now, molarity and molality are the two important methods of expressing concentration. Coming to molarity, molarity is moles of solute by liter of solution. Moles of solute by liter of solution. It can be expressed in this way also. 2 always refers to solute. This customarily we have taken like that. And 1 for solvent. We will take it as 1 for solvent. Now W2 is given mass. Given mass by molar mass. These together will give number of moles. Number of moles of any substance can be determined by given mass. Okay. So if given mass is W2, dividing by molecular mass or molar mass of that, then we'll give number of moles. And this volume of solution, if volume of solution in milliliter, then 1000 is the multiplication factor. Remember that V is here volume of solution in liters, right? Now coming to, okay, volume of solution in milliliter. Now molality. Molality is moles of solute divided by kgs of solvent. It is kgs of solvent. Now this also can be expressed in W2 by M2 and W1. So this is mass of solvent. Okay. So this is solvent. This should be solvent. And this is W1 is mass of solvent into 1000. When W1 is in kg, there is no need of 1000. But this is, if it is in grams, then we have to multiply by 1000. Now, these are the two important ways of expressing the concentration. Now, suppose you want to prepare 1 molar solution of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. 1 molar solution of sodium chloride. How we have to do that? Let me try to explain you. 1 molar solution of sodium chloride is obtained by taking 1 mole of solute. 1 mole of solute is equal to how many grams? 1 mole of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride formula is NaCl. Sodium is 23U and chlorine is 35.5U. Together, this is the formula mass 58.5U is its formula mass, and if 58.5 grams are dissolved in 1 liter, to form a solution, 1 liter of a solution, then it is 1 molar solution of sodium chloride. Just see whether it is true or not. So W2 is 58.5. And if you have taken also 58.5, because it is molar mass is also 58 point. So if this is a gram that you have taken, and molar mass is gram per mole, is its molar mass. In 1 liter, that means 1000 ml, and again numerator also 1000. So everything get cancelled. Therefore, it is 1 molar solution. So 1 molar solution of sodium chloride is obtained by taking 58.5 grams of sodium chloride and make a solution whose volume is 1 liter. Now, how to make 1 molar solution? Try to understand this. 1 molar and molar solution. Molar solution is being obtained by dissolving 1 mole of solute, that is 58.5 grams of sodium chloride, taking 1 kg of water. So this is the difference how we can able to form a molar and molar solution. Let us try to go ahead with some in-text questions which are to be solved. Calculate the mass percentage of benzene and carbon tetrachloride if 22 grams of benzene is dissolved in 122 grams of carbon tetrachloride. Okay, so let us try to see that. So think about it, how it can be done. Mass percentage being asked. Recall the formula. What is the mass percentage? Mass percentage means mass by mass percentage. Mass by mass percentage. This is given by mass of solute or mass of one component, mass of solute by mass of solution. Mass of solution into 100. Now you have to find out which is the solute and what is the mass of the solution. The mass percentage of benzene you have to find out. In carbon tetrachloride, benzene is a solute. It was 22 grams of benzene and it is dissolved in 122 grams. Now, mass of solute is 22 grams, right? Divided by mass of solution. So by chance you may take it as 122 plus this is 122 grams plus 22 is the mass of solution into 100. Clear? So this is the how you can able to find out mass percentage, and let us see what is the answer of this. Okay, so mass percentage of this, mass of benzene divided by total mass. So it is being clearly written mass of C6H6, that is benzene divided by mass of C6H6, and carbon tetrachloride is CCl4, and total mass is 144. 22 divided by 144, that is 15.28%. This is how you can able to find out mass percentage, right? Let us quickly see the another question, in-text question. Calculate the mole fraction of benzene in solution containing 30% by mass in carbon tetrachloride. Read the question once again, understand this, and then try to give the solution. You have to find out mole fraction of benzene. Mole fraction of benzene, for that what do you need? Mole fraction of benzene, C6H6. Mole fraction of benzene is nothing but number of moles of benzene divided by number of moles of benzene plus number of moles of the solvent benzene in carbon tetrachloride. It is also a question of carbon tetrachloride only. So the another compound is carbon tetrachloride. You need to know number of moles of benzene and number of moles of carbon tetrachloride from the information given here. Can you able to do that? How to find out the number of moles of benzene when 30% mass by mass solution is being prepared? In that solution, 30% is the concentration. So it is another way the expression is being given. Now 30%, what we mean? 30% solution, what we mean? This implies 30 grams of solute in 100 grams of solution, or 70 grams of solvent. Now this is clear. 30 grams of benzene is in 70 grams of carbon tetrachloride. So this is the mixture. 30% of the solution, we mean 30 grams of benzene in 70 grams of carbon tetrachloride. Therefore, it is given, mass is being given, only you have to find out moles of it. Okay, for that what is required? How do you convert from given mass into number of moles? Number of moles can be given by W2 by M2. That means given mass by molar mass. So given mass is 30. What is the molar mass of benzene? So this will makes the point clear. Okay, so mass of benzene is 30 grams and mass of carbon tetrachloride is 70 grams. Now, so what is the molar mass of benzene can be found out like this: 12U, 12 into 6, 1 into 6, totally 78U. Number of moles of benzene is given mass by molar mass. So 30 grams by 78 gram per mole, because molar mass you have to take. 30 by 78 is 0.3846. And molar mass of carbon tetrachloride similarly you have to do, and therefore number of moles of carbon tetrachloride is given mass by molar mass, so that we are getting all number of moles, and then what the next step is understood that mole fraction of benzene in carbon tetrachloride is number of moles of it, that is what we have found out, 0.3846 divided by 0.3846 plus 0.4545, the answer is 0.458. This is the way you can able to find out. Now another question, it's interesting. Calculate the molarity of the resulting solution if 30 ml of 0.5 diluted to 500 ml. So it's a like real life situation. Now, so you have 30 ml of 0.5 solution of H2SO4. Okay, it is not being mentioned there. It is to be So here 30 ml of 0.5 m H2SO4 is there. So you have 30 ml of 0.5 m H2SO4, this is missing here, H2SO4 diluted to 500 ml. Now we have added water to this so that you have made it into, okay, you have made it into 500 ml. So totally it is 500 ml. Now you have to find out the concentration of the H2SO4 in 500 ml. How will you be able to do this? Now, question is, on dilution, whether number of moles of H2SO4, whether it will change? It will not change. What was earlier in 30 ml of 0.5 m, the same number of moles of H2SO4 will remain. Okay. Now, what is the total volume of solution? Is 500 ml only. Therefore, it is rather easier one. Molarity is number of moles of solute divided by volume of solution. Denominator is 500 ml, that we know that now. Volume of solution in liter. 500 ml means 0.5 or half liter. And number of moles we have to find out. How will you find out how many moles are there in 30 ml of 0.5 m H2SO4? What is meant by 0.5 m H2SO4? 0.5 m, 5.5 moles or half mole is present in 1 liter of a solution. So it is 0.5 m H2SO4. We mean, what is the symbolic is half mole present in 1 liter of solution. Half mole is nothing but, okay, half mole, 0.5 mole is present in this 1000 moles of H2SO4 in 1000 ml, because 1000 ml, 1 liter of solution, 1000 ml of solution. Therefore, 30 ml. Okay. So, how many moles are present in 30 ml? So, we may have to rewrite that. 1000 ml contains 0.5 moles. Therefore, what is 30 ml contains? So, this will give you number of moles of H2SO4 in that. So, on dilution, number of moles doesn't change. Therefore, you can able to easily find out the answer. Now, number of moles present in 1000 ml of 0.5 H2SO4 is 0.5 moles. And number of moles present in 30 ml of 0.5, therefore, is given by 0.5 by 30 into 30 divided by 1000, that is 0.015. Now, molarity is number of moles. Now, number of moles divided by volume of solution in liter, that is 0.03. So, these are the important questions which is being solved. Now, you take up some of the questions written as a homework. But before that, let us see some important aspects of competitive examinations. Okay. Now, on mixing two non-reacting solutions, final molarity of the solution is given by M1V1 plus M2V2, giving rise to M3V1 plus V2. So this is the kind of formula that we use for the competitive examination. How the question will be asked, I will just give an example. If 3m solution of sodium chloride, 500 ml of it, 500 ml of 3m sodium chloride is added by 300 ml of 2m sodium chloride, then what is the molarity of the resulting solution? Understand? 500 ml of 3m NaCl, 300 ml of 2m NaCl, these two solutions are mixed, then what is the molarity of the new solution? So, remember, M1V1, this will give you number of moles, M1V1. Molarity into volume, because molarity is number of moles divided by volume. This volume and volume get cancelled and you will get the number of moles. So, number of moles of here plus number of moles that will give you total number of moles, that is M3, divided by total volume. Total volume is 500 plus 300. So if you want to find out final volume, final molarity, final number of moles, okay, so then you can able to find out like this: M3 into V1 and V2. V1 and V2, that will be equal final V1 plus V2. The volume into M3 will give you the total number of moles present in the solution. That itself will be in 1 liter it will be present. Therefore, that will be the answer to the question. Answer to the question that you are going to get. Now, on dilution from volume V1 to V2, the equation used is M1 V1 is equal to M2 V2. So, this is also another kind of generalization which can be used very easily. Now, if there is 2 liter of H2SO4 diluted by putting water, 1 liter of water you have put, so that it will become 3 liter of H2SO4. Now 2 liter of 0.5 m H2SO4 is dilated to 3 liter. What is the molarity of the new solution? So for that, what is to be done is M1 V1 is equal to M2 V2. So M1 0.5, 2 liters are there into 2 liter. Now we have made it into 3 liter, therefore new volume is 3 liter. So what is the molarity? So you can transpose this 3 to here. 0.5 into 2 is 1. 1 divided by 3, that is 0.33 m. That is the molarity of the new solution. So there is one more thing, formality is being used. Formality, F, it is an equivalent term with molarity. What is molarity? Molarity is number of moles of solute in 1 liter of a solution. Number of moles of solute we use if a solute is of covalent in nature, then we use molecular mass. If it is an ionic in nature, we use formula mass. So instead of molecular mass, we express that in gram molecular mass. Gram formula mass is being used. Therefore, formality is nothing but, if the word formality is asked in any competitive examination, you may think that it is just as that of molarity, and in molarity we take the molecular mass, but here since it is an ionic compound, we use formula mass. So the formula remains same. Formality is number of gram formula masses of solute dissolved per liter of a solution. That means formula mass expressed in grams. So that is gram formula mass that dissolved in per liter of a solution, that gives you formality. There is one more word, normality. Normality is number of gram equivalents of a solute dissolved per liter of a solution. Gram equivalents are calculated by knowing the molecular mass, and equivalent weight of the substance is molecular mass divided by valency of that element. So this is normality is another word which is being used, right? Now let us take up some of the questions as an assignment. Calculate the mass of urea required in making 2.5 kg of 0.25 molar aqueous solution, and calculate molarity and mole fraction of potassium iodide if density of 20% aqueous solution is 1.202 gram per milliliter. So density is being given here. Density is being given. Using that, you have to find out molarity and molality. Hope you will try this, and we will discuss the answer in the next session. Thank you.